everybody. Yeah, I'm kicking off season 2 of Riding With The Outlaw. I just came across a very, very interesting article, and I tell you, this is one of the things it's got me real fired up. In fact, so fired up, I wish I was outside of Justice Court here in Oxford right now, calling for the direct removal of Judge Carolyn Bell. And it couldn't be any clearer based on the rulings that she has made that this is clearly somebody who is the biggest existential threat to society, somebody that does not need to be on the bench. You know, in Mississippi, and I talked about this early on during the first season of Riding With The Outlaw. You know, in Mississippi, a justice court judge does not need a law license, a law degree. They don't even need a college degree. And these very people are setting bonds, okay? And what you're going to see right here with this is you're going to see that she was clearly not going by the law, not going by the guidelines, rather ruling off of her own personal opinion, her own personal feelings. And that's something that never belongs on the bench. So Friday, May 25th, 2018, the Oxford Eagle published an article with the title, Judges Have Guidelines, Some Leeway in Determining Bonds. I was ambushed on the square in Oxford on May 26th, 2017. I was never informed what crime I was being accused of until they got me to the jail, and it was there that they informed me that I was charged with aggravated stalking. And what was alarming about that is I've never stalked anybody, but even more alarming was the claim that was made. On the affidavit, it said on or before May 8th of 2017 that I had put Todd and Ashley Lynch in fear of their life with an AR-15 at their place of residence. Not only do I not know where they personally live, don't care to know. They had a bar in Oxford called Frank and Marley's, and I actually used to frequent that bar every day, every other day from around the beginning of May. On May 6th, that's actually my wife's birthday, I left to go out of town to New Orleans because the statues there were coming under fire. They were looking at getting vandalized, looking at getting relocated. And so I drove down there to join a larger group of patriots. We were going to take a stand to protect history from vandals, from violence. We weren't there to cause any violence or any problems, but we were ready in the event that did break out. I ended up coming back to town, to Oxford, on the 8th of May, and it was because on May 9th, I had a Chancery Court hearing for the first of many frivolous filings by my ex, Phyllis Crowder, mother of my now 6-year-old child. It's the same one that has kept her from me for the majority of her life, unfairly. I have not seen my daughter since around January 20th, when I took her to meet up with her mom for visitation drop-off, and that was when, yet again, she made a false allegation, involved CPS in a rash attempt to try to strip my daughter out of my life. Every single time that she has made a filing or called DHS in one of these brazen attempts to try to manipulate her own outcome to keep complete custody of my daughter, meanwhile taking my money, $600 a month. So I came back May 8th to deal with the Chancery matter the next day, May 9th, and I met with my attorney. His name was Charles Yao. There on the square, and he entered a limited appearance, and we had prepared a counterclaim against her, and he gave it to me. He gave it to me for the purpose of putting it in the mailbox, and I decided I was going to go and serve her attorney, Mona Pittman, because it was the claims they had made were that far out there. And you know what? Both of them just really pissed me off, and I really wanted to go and serve the attorney. Probably against the Mississippi Rules of Civil Procedure, but you know, it didn't matter, because to me, the false claims that she made, those superseded anything like that. So I went on a journey. I was actually on a live stream the entire time. It was probably about an hour long. I've got that live stream still. Funny thing about it, people were trying to give me directions on where to go for Mona Pittman, and Mona never kept an accurate address. Everything online, it was inaccurate. Come to find out, after a drawn-out long wild goose chase, Mona Pittman coincidentally worked out of the same building as Ray Tannehill on North Lamar, actually in the basement level. So to get there, you just go behind Ray's building, go down that little, it's a little drive ramp, and sure enough, right there in the back was Mona Pittman, her office. And I parked and I got out, walked into the office, and by then she had been tipped off that I was looking for her to serve her this counterclaim. And I walked into her office on the live stream. She walked out of her little cubicle area or whatever, her little corner office, and I said, "Are you Mona?" And she said, "You're not welcome here." And I gave her the papers. I said, "You've been served." And she told me that I couldn't serve her that way. And I said, "Well, you just got served on a live stream." And she waved at the camera and said, "Hey, everybody." And I turned around, I walked out, and that video, I've got it on several things with Riding With The Outlaw. Glad I got that video. Well, so, long story short, okay, there was no way I could have committed this crime because they accused me of, on or before May 8th, putting Todd and Ashley Lynch in fear of their life with the AR-15. I didn't purchase the gun until May 20th. Have a bill of sale to prove it. Okay? And that's right there where, it should have ended right there. But it didn't. And they held me in jail. They picked me up May 26th, so I was there May 26th. That was my mother-in-law's birthday, by the way. They picked a just nasty day to pull the shenanigans that they pulled. In fact, I was actually set to meet who would become my future mother-in-law that evening for dinner. Unfortunately, I never did make it to dinner time because it was probably 3-4 o'clock that I was ambushed on the square. Well, so I'm in jail night of the 26th, the 27th, the 28th, the 29th, and then on the 30th, I'm taken out of my cell and brought to justice court for a bond hearing. Now keep in mind, Judge Mickey Avent was the judge who had signed, I want to say he was the judge that signed the arrest warrant. And Mickey Avent I know Mickey Avent. So he clearly had to have been influenced on this, because I don't see Mickey Avent making that kind of corrupt call on his own without some type of pressure being applied. Mickey Avent signed the arrest warrant, but he wasn't the judge for the hearing. See, I was hoping, because I knew Mickey, I was hoping the same judge would be the judge for the justice court for the bond hearing. Well, I'm in there in justice court. I'm wearing an orange jumpsuit, shackled at the wrist, the waist, and the ankles. And I'm brought over there with 3 deputies. And one of them, Caleb East, steps out of the courtroom, and about 10 minutes go by. He walks back in with Judge Bell. Judge Carolyn Bell. She's a black Democrat, and what I will find out later, of course, after all this is all over and done with, is just the complete inconsistencies of her ruling and how they go based off of personal feelings. And there have even been plenty of examples of her ruling based on skin color, political affiliation. Just, these types of people never need to be on the bench. I mean, that is the biggest threat that we have to our nation as far as, from a legal perspective, is who do we have on the courts? Are they making rules based on the law, based on the Constitution as they are written, as they're already on the books? Or are they making rules based on personal opinion, influence, and sway? Because no judge should ever simply just go off of their opinion. They need to rule equivocally across the board based on the law. I would say the same thing even if it was a judge that was, in favor, politically on the same side. They need to toss politics to the side. They need to judge equally across the bench. And if they don't, they need to be tossed. There's no room in our society for judges that are not going directly by the book. A position of judge needs to be held to the highest echelon and the highest level. Alright, this article by the Oxford Eagle, it was published by Alyssa Schnug. I actually have an interview with her where I sat down. It was a day or two after my arrest, May 1st, on the square in Oxford, where I was arrested for the first time. It was the first unlawful arrest by the county by Deputy Timmy Pruitt. And I will say this, by the time I get to the end of everything with Riding with the Outlaw, not only is there going to be, proof beyond all reasonable doubt, but even further, I think it's going to go to prove that these people have been complete obstructionists, that the level of crime here has risen to a level of organized crime, that there is so much involvement, so much influence, that if they truly are immune from punishment, if I'm time barred because of their obstructionist tactics, and they don't if they don't overlook the time barring because of how heinous all this is and the level of involvement, and how they have purposefully obstructed the law and obstructed my life, my ability to seek justice, then there's no justice. There's truly no justice. And I don't know how they can ever expect anybody to truly follow the law whenever these people are breaking the laws worse than anybody else. Total flagrant abuse of the badge. So the article published by the Oxford Eagle, judges have guidelines, some leeway in determining bonds. This is published by Alyssa Schnug, 9 a.m. on Friday, May 25th, 2018. And it says, a person is arrested and charged with a serious violent crime against another. Within 48 hours, the suspect must go before a judge to determine whether they will be given a bond, and if so, how much and what type. And that's the truth. They have 48 hours, 2 days, to bring the person before a judge. So why is it that May 26th, they did this ironically. This article came out exactly 1 day prior to a year after my arrest. I'm in there the night of the 26th, the 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. Every bit of 96 hours. Nobody has yet to give me any type of explanation as to why they could so harshly go against established requirements right there, and how all this could not be tossed immediately anyways. It goes on to say, in Oxford and Lafayette County, that job falls to the Lafayette County Justice Court and its 3 judges. The victim of the crime learns the suspect was given a reasonable bond and is back out on the streets, while the victim is 100% sure that the suspect is guilty by right of the U.S. Constitution. Everyone who is arrested is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Then it goes on to say, bond is not supposed to be punitive or intended for punishment, but to ensure that defendants will appear for court hearings, said Lafayette County Justice Court Judge Mickey Avent. The 8th Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibits imposing excessive bail. In 2016, the Mississippi Supreme Court put out a recommended range of bail amounts for judges to set in felony and misdemeanor cases. All crimes except capital felonies are bailable offenses in capital felony cases when the proof is evident or the presumption great, and when the accused person is previously convicted of a capital offense or an offense punishable by imprisonment for a maximum of 20 years or more, a judge can deny bond. In all other crimes, judges are highly encouraged but not mandated to follow the sentencing guidelines that include manslaughter, $10,000 to $1 million, drug distribution and trafficking, $5,000 to $1 million. All other non-capital felonies, punishable by a maximum of 20 years or more, which would a lot of times be murder or something really truly serious. Minimum $20,000 to a maximum $250,000. Punishable by a maximum 10 years to 20 years, $10,000 to $100,000. Punishable by a maximum of up to 10 years, $5,000 to $50,000. And then it goes and says that misdemeanor bonds range from $50,000 to $2,000. So I found out that my charge, whenever I was arrested, brought in on the 26th, my charge was aggravated stalking, alleging on or before May 8th I put Todd and Ashley Lynch in fear of their life with an AR-15. However, I didn't purchase the gun until 12 days later, which I was trying to assert in front of the judge. At the bail hearing, she would not let me speak. Kept telling me that I had the right to remain silent. I had just gotten back into town on the 8th from New Orleans. Had no problem with the Lynches whatsoever, because Ashley Lynch didn't even throw out my chicken wings until I think it was May 18th or May 19th. Up until then, I was frequenting their bar to drink as a customer. Now, the crime of aggravated stalking is punishable by up to a $5,000 fine and not more than 3 years incarceration. So, looking at this chart, punishable by maximum up to 10 years should have been a $5,000 to $50,000 bond. I was given a $150,000 bond that was reported on by the Oxford Eagle when they had first published the article. You know that $150,000 that I had to have collateral for all that. This chart also says judges are also encouraged to set most bonds on the lower end of the guideline ranges. Avent says the Mississippi Supreme Court has set forth certain criteria to be applied in determining the amount of bail that should be required as a prerequisite to the defendant's release. Those criteria include how long the suspect has lived in the community, their employment status, their family ties and relationships, reputation, character and mental condition, prior criminal record, nature of the offense, the level of violence and the type of weapon used, flight risk indicators, and whether the suspect poses a safety risk to the community. Now, just some facts on everything. Marine Corps veteran, okay, patriot. I made it very clear that in all my videos that I would never put anybody in fear of their life. I would never bring harm to anybody that, unless they had ill intent on, causing harm to myself or my family, like serious bodily harm or death, or to anybody, any innocent citizen. That's when I would engage. I never threatened anybody, never threatened physical harm on anybody, and it's not the type of person that I am. Although the county has done their best to try to bring that side of me out through destroying my life and everything they've done to me in 2017 up to now. I have lost all economic opportunity. I have lost 3 houses to eviction. And since that time, I've added 2 little girls to my family, technically 3. My wife, she had a 6-year-old with another relationship, best friends with my daughter, hadn't seen her for 9 months now. And then had a little girl that was born April 30th, 2018. And then had another one born Christmas Day of 2019. And both of those instances sparked jealousy with the ex, which is my assumption as to why each time she has refused me access to my child. But I just don't understand how, I don't understand how this thing has not gotten tossed a long time ago. I guess I can only imagine that these people are putting up the biggest fight known to man, because every single one of my constitutional rights basically have been destroyed. And not only just by accident, but by pure malice, by intentional hands. I've been accused of crimes that I did not nor could not have committed. My ex has taken and run with false accusation after false accusation, has played the court constantly since 2017. Her and her attorney had filed frivolous claims seeking a restraining order when I never was even trying to go onto her property anyways. I wanted to be left the hell alone to live my life. I just wanted to be a father to my daughter. But come to find out, they had filed all these just ridiculous police reports. Got 18 police reports filed over the last 5 years. I wouldn't have even known about any of them unless I would have done a public record request, which I did. And it was also through the public record request that I found out that Deputy Jared Bundren received a call on May 24, 2017, which is what sparked all this in the first place. This is what he used to find, I guess, enough information to go to a judge and get a warrant. But they would not elaborate on the call, and I've been asking for that call since then. And it has been fraudulent concealment. These people have not cared, have not shown the slightest bit of remorse, have not given me the opportunity to even present my evidence. They've denied me every opportunity for a evidentiary hearing. I have proven more and more fraud coming out of circuit court, fraudulently changing records. All I've tried to do this entire time is to get my life back, is to prove that I was innocent. I was never given the chance to have a fair trial. I pled out after 6 weeks, told that if I didn't take this plea, I was going to get railroaded with all these additional charges. The attorney told me that. He said that I needed to get out of town on a banishment, surrender my guns, or else they were going to throw the book at me, send me to Parchman on something else that they would charge me with. And I fled out. I sold my soul to the devil that day. Something that I've regretted and will have to live with for the rest of my life, unless I get this overturned. And I am unwilling to back down. I pledged a lifelong oath to our country back in 2007, 10 years prior, to protect and defend it, to uphold and defend our Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And this was just an all-out domestic assault on me, my rights, my family, and they have done everything they can in their power to keep it destroyed and to continue their lies. They have used influence to try to pressure me to back down. And I'm sorry. Right is right, wrong is wrong. You have to take a stand against the evils in society. And even if there are certain ways that I'm doing this wrong with Riding with the Outlaw, I'll say this. That if I'm wrong in the approach, I'm certain of my wrongness. Always. When you commit all the way. Never back down. This is Matt Reardon, and you've been Riding with the Outlaw. Our country has lost all sight of its values on which it was established. A lawless nation of laws. I've never in my life witnessed such an atrocity, and yet it serves as a daily reminder that our freedom never truly comes free. It comes at a price. We never plan to fail. Rather, we fail to plan, and that is what truly holds each and every one of us back from our true potential. Be thankful for each and every opportunity you have, and make the most of it. Be unwavering in your commitment, even if others don't agree with you. Be certain and dedicate fully, refusing to give up and back down, and most certainly in your convictions when it comes to your perceived values of right and wrong in the face of true evil. The times truly testing of your faith are here. How will your legacy reflect on you and future generations that hinge on the decisions you make today? Now is the time to take a stand for the freedoms of tomorrow. It's a decision you're going to have to make. This whole ordeal has been the biggest nightmare I can't wake up from. I knew it would be the biggest challenge of my life, but this is absolute hell. Literally hell. Nobody seems to take a damn thing seriously. The government agencies who know they are in the wrong continuously make a mockery of everything because nobody seems to hold them accountable, which in turn makes the issue at heart grow larger than life. The influence of the media seems to be a make or break on everything in today's society. I've been every bit but silent on everything. I've resonated to a point of losing my voice, and it's like the mute button has been hit the entire time. It's like a story building within a story, which undoubtedly will lead to complete devastation. Not just for me, but for everybody. I've documented, journalized, reported relentlessly. I've thrown myself into the middle of a viper pit because that's the only avenue I saw that could possibly produce a positive outcome and help remedy the horrible things and horrible people that have destroyed my life and caused society to drift so far off track as it's been headed over the past century. I made the conscious decision that I'd rather fall as a martyr on my feet to a worthy and noble cause than to ever surrender accepting defeat on my knees.